Hello, welcome to the Clear Voice Podcast. I'm your host, James Groom. Today we have a positional podcast for you out of the city of Pflugerville. With me today is President of Clear Career Professionals, Michael Bays. How's it going, Mike?
Doing great, James.
Also with us today from the city of Pflugerville is James Hartshorn and Emily Barron. They'll be talking with us about the city's opening for their Planning and Development Services Director position. Welcome to the studio, James and Emily.
Thanks for having us today.
Yep, thanks.
Well, we're definitely excited to have both of you here to kick things off. Can you share a little bit about your professional journey and what brought you to Pflugerville?
Sure, I'll go first. So, I guess my background, really, I'm a Texas State graduate and an American Institute of Certified Planners. I'm from the education side of things and have been in local government for, well, I'll age myself, for over 27 years. And so I started right out of school in local government after doing some work during my college days, working in kind of GIS, which kind of gave me some foundational work that would serve me throughout my career. And so for completing school, I worked for the city of Austin as a transportation planner, entry level, and spent most of my career in development. Worked for the city of Austin, some great opportunities there to learn how to work and grow and appreciate teams, kind of some volunteer things during my time there. I transitioned to the city of Cedar Park after about 10 years with the city of Austin. Really gave me a broader range for planning and development, working for a mid-sized city. And what brought me to Pflugerville was the opportunity to become their planning and development services director. And that was over 12 years ago. And so it's been a credible city to work for. And when Serena, our city manager, started with us nearly 7 years ago, got to work with her a little bit. And that's been an incredible journey. And she asked me, "You ever thought about being a city manager?" And I hadn't. My whole career I'd spent in development. It has been a passion of mine. I've really enjoyed it, and I love local government. And I started thinking more about it. Maybe I should think about that. Started asking others and some of my peers, people I'd known for a long time, and they thought, "Sure, that's right up your alley. Of course you should think about that." And so a little over 3 years ago, the opportunity opened for me to become the city's assistant city manager, and that's kind of where I sit today. It's been an incredible ride for a community that James and I are both happy to talk about today, that I think we've both really enjoyed and certainly has been the highlight location of my career.
Great. James, how about you? How'd you wind up where you're at?
My background's not nearly as cool as Emily's, but public service is just part of what I grew up with. My brother is fourth generation law enforcement. And on the other side of the family was, call it a professor of religion. So it was just always service. The discussions and what I saw in practice was all about public service. So I thought I was going to be a police officer. I graduated at a time that wasn't really favorable for that profession, right as the recession hit. And so the decision was made to go back to school. And halfway through that program, the deputy city manager of Bryan, Texas, Hugh Walker, gave a brown bag about city management. And that just resonated with me in that moment of having the public service aspect that I liked, and also the fun. And all F words start with a P in Pflugerville. Let's be clear about that right off the bat. Yeah. So I had the fun of running a business and also the public service element. It was just perfect. It has been a really great fit for me. Cut my teeth in Texas City, city of Texas City, right on the Gulf Coast, as kind of working in economic development. Got to know this wonderful city manager by the name of Serena in Alvin, Texas. And our paths crossed again when she moved to Pflugerville, and I had the opportunity to interview as an assistant city manager a little over 6 years ago, and was given that opportunity. And so been serving the city of Pflugerville for the last 6 years as ACM and promoted to DCM as Emily was promoted to ACM. And so it's just been now I'm a big believer in choosing the people that you work for rather than anything else. It's your boss over everything else. And I really wanted to learn from Serena. And those who come to work with us will find out just how awesome that can be, and the culture that we've built and the trust that she extends and all the great things that we're able to work on.
Great. Sounds like they're doing a lot of internal promotions in Pflugerville and building you guys up through those ranks. That's a great thing to hear.
100%.
And so, some of our listeners may not be so familiar with Pflugerville. It does start with a P, like you guys said. So what else about the community, the growth, and the the community identity can you tell us about?
Well, I think what really makes Pflugerville so special is its diversity. Pflugerville is the most diverse city in Travis County, if not in Central Texas. We've seen tremendous growth over the last 20 years. And so for anyone in the development field, especially in public service and planning and development, that's a very attractive part of a city to work for. And so I think we've seen tremendous growth with transportation, development, lots of things in Central Texas happening. And so I feel like Pflugerville's really at the heart of that. One of my favorite things, though, about Pflugerville is the sense of community. And if you speak to any of our community members, it's about their love for the city. It resonates in any engagement that we do, how much our community loves the community. They're very connected to each other, and they want to see the best for the city. And I think with our team here, we take that to heart and try to make the best decisions possible because of the passion our community has for Pflugerville. And so I don't think you find that everywhere. I think that is something that sets Pflugerville apart. It's really strategically located too in Central Texas. And so it's really a special place to be.
During my research, I saw that Pflugerville claims itself as the trail capital of Texas. And I'm on vacation right now, and one of the things my wife drugged me off to was a 6-mile hike through some beautiful scenery. And it's one of those things that is amazing to have in a community because it's low cost for the citizens. They don't have to go out and buy a bunch of equipment, and there's no entry fees. It's a lot to work, maintain, and especially a lot of work in planning. Can you tell us how Pflugerville's commitment to green space and quality of life shows up in the city's planning priorities?
Sure. Well, the trail capital of Texas, I think, isn't just reflective of our trails and green space. Certainly that our park system is a hallmark of our community, and trails, you hear that come up and again in those engagements that we have in every conversation that we have with our community members. But it's also a representation of our community. It's the connectedness. It's physically how you get to each other and move through the community. But I think it's also a symbol of the community as well. And so through development, that's a great opportunity for new development to contribute to that asset that is so important to our community. And so I think over time, while the city takes on doing trail gaps and making those connections, planning those strategically through new developments has also been very important, and why we have so many miles of trails that we do today. And that's really provided that connection throughout our community. Recently, our council has adopted the mobility master plan, and for the first time, we combined our trails and our roadways under one umbrella, really thinking more about mobility throughout our community. We do see it mostly today. Our trail system is recreational, but we heard loud and clear from our community. They want to use that as a mode of transportation. And so I think as we move the community forward, that's an important network to build and grow upon.
I definitely like to hear that. Can we talk a little bit about the position itself? What exactly is expectations for the Planning and Development Services Director, and why is the role so vital to the city's success?
Sure. Well, the Planning and Development Services Director, it's a critical leadership role for any community, and especially for Pflugerville. This role helps to shape how our community grows and functions. This position guides neighborhoods, commercial centers, parks, as we talked about, transportation networks, all designed to integrate the community. Part of our 2040 Aspire Comprehensive Plan really talks about that connection again, really creating 10-minute neighborhoods. And I think those types of initiatives really, they start in the Planning and Development Services Department. And so having a strong leader, someone who understands the basis for planning and growth and meeting those goals of the vision of the community is key for the community to be successful. And so really a critical role for us as it is for any community.
Well, as we know, every employee, every new hire needs to fit into the culture of the city to be the most successful. Can you guys tell us what the work environment and the values of the city is to someone considering this role?
Thanks. I can speak to that a little bit. So we have defined core values, and we can talk about those. Those are really important. But when I think of just generally, particularly for this role, it's someone that brings expertise, right? So you need to be knowledgeable in the field. But there's also this element of humility. Like, we don't all know everything about everything. It's just not possible. And a leader that's willing to admit that and to lean on each other to provide the best results for the city is really important. And we believe in building a very high trust organization that comes with providing feedback to each other, that comes to admitting when you don't particularly know something. But it's those people that can lead with humility and honesty that's going to be really important. And then someone, people that can just figure things out, right? Like, we all know those people in the organization where it doesn't matter what the task is at hand, they can just figure it out. They can be trusted to go do their best, to rely on relationships, to rely on research, whatever it needs to get the job done. We need more people like that. And I think, one of the more important things that we value in Pflugerville is a sense of humor. This job will eat you alive. This industry can be really tough. You got to have a sense of humor. I would challenge you to find an organization that laughs more together. Even in council meetings, we have a good time. And so that's really, really important to us too. And then of course we can, Emily, you could expound on that, and you could even talk about our core values if you'd like.
Yeah, I think that's really adds to kind of the unique nature of Pflugerville. We were meeting with a candidate for another position just yesterday, and what I found intriguing about that was she brought them up. She used to live in Pflugerville, and she had moved away because she didn't feel like there's a lot going on. She didn't really see the kind of environment. It wasn't a place that she wanted to live in. But over the last several years, she started looking back at Pflugerville, seeing all the things going on, and seeing our team out in the community, and really how the city is responsive to our community members. And that is what intrigued her to apply for this other position that we have open. She went one by one through all of our core values, and that expressed how important that was to her as well, because that is our culture has really started to penetrate our community, and that's how we are seen, I think, now across the community. I'm not sure that was always the case. These core values have really shifted our culture. That came when Serena started as city manager here, and I think that's now being felt not only internally but by our community overall, which really I think contributes to such an incredible work environment for all of our team.
And you mentioned the core values. Is that, I guess it's just first, but it has a P in front of it. Is that right?
That's right.
Every F word.
That's right. I saw an F word the other day without a P, and I thought it was misspelled.
But our core values weren't brought by Serena, right? These were developed by a cross section of the organization. The acronym is FIRST, PFIRST. Positive, forward-thinking, integrity, resilience, service, teamwork. We have very specific definitions to those. We talk about those during onboarding. We give annual awards based on those. The city manager has a coin that she presents to people throughout the year who go above and beyond in one of those areas, one or more. And so there are things that we talk about all the time, and it's we hire based on those, we fire based on those, and we keep a really strong team. So we're proud of the culture that we have.
So if somebody was listening to this and they wanted a cheat code for how to help themselves get a leg up in the interview process, that might be a hint right there.
Maybe so.
Emily, from your perspective as a assistant city manager, can you tell us a little bit about your leadership style, and how do you build strong working relationships within your department?
Sure. So I think I would describe my leadership style. I think I fit well in kind of that servant leadership. I enjoy and I work hard to build relationships and trust with my team, and that not only for the departments that report to me, but I think across the board. I think that's important to be able to better understand what they need to grow, to be successful, and to thrive in their position, as well as just in local government in general. Working in government is challenging, and I think building that trust and that relationship with people is important. Our goal is as James mentioned earlier, is to really be collaborative. It's good to laugh at yourself and have a sense of humor, moments of being humbled. That there's a lot of challenges that come our way, and we're stronger together. And so that is what I try to emphasize with our team and with my direct reports especially, and that they're not facing issues and challenges on their own. We're not putting anybody in a room being like, go fix that and then let me know how it goes. It's a team environment. Collaboration is key. And I always want them to know that I'm there to support them. And so I work at that every day. And so some days I do better than others, I think, like anybody else. But at the heart of it, my goal is always to help and support our team.
I got to jump in there. So Emily's not expecting me to say this, of course, but I said in the beginning, you choose your boss, right? Anybody who came here would be so lucky to have Emily as their leader. The words that come to mind, she leads with empathy. She cares about her people. She knows them by name and their families by name and their pets by name. Like, she genuinely cares about her people, and she leads that way. She's also probably the most knowledgeable person I know about planning and development. So if you're looking for someone that could mentor you in that space, this is a home run.
Thank you for that, James. I didn't know he was going to say that, and I appreciate that.
Well, I'm not in the planning side of things, but everything you said is exactly the kind of boss that I want to work for. Can you guys tell us a little bit about how the new director will interact with council, planning and zoning commission, board of adjustments, those kind of folks?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there's no direct communication with our council, but this position is in front of our council meetings all the time. And so with any development project, this person is the face of the department. Oftentimes they'll bring their team up to kind of help support a particular project, but at the end of the day, they are the face of the Planning and Development Services Department. As far as Planning and Zoning Commission and the Board of Adjustment go, they are responsible for those two boards. And so this position serves as the staff liaison for both the P&Z and the Board of Adjustment.
And what kind of exciting initiatives or projects are on the horizon for the new director to take the lead on?
Sure. Well, we are kicking off an update to our Unified Development Code, which the last time we did a full overhaul of our code was in 2015, and I had the opportunity to take that on, and it is quite an undertaking. And so it's a great way to reflect the values and the vision for our community through development regulation. So that's one of our tools we put in the toolbox. So we're updating that to reflect what our community said was their vision through our Aspire 2040 comprehensive plan. And so that's a big undertaking that will happen over the next year. I think would be an exciting one for a new director for sure. Implementation of our comprehensive plan, which was adopted just 3 years ago, I think is also a little different than other comprehensive plans. It's a very people-centered comprehensive plan. It looked across the board at our community. If you think kind of about in psychology, there's a wellness wheel. We took that approach through comprehensive planning, a little bit different approach than other communities take. And that's resonated from, as I spoke to earlier, the love our community has for Pflugerville. And so we try to really integrate that into that long-term vision that was adopted by council in 2022. And so implementation of that is an undertaking in itself. And so while all of our departments contribute to that implementation, certainly the bulk of that is the responsibility of the Planning and Development Services Director. A couple other things on just this week, our City Council adopted a strategic plan for 2026 to 2030, kind of furthering, really refining where the comprehensive plan said we needed to go, and kind of those bite-sized chunks, right, in thinking about the next 5 years. And so there's an incredible amount of discussion in there related to economic development, which is really founded in solid planning and development. And so that's a fun thing I think will be great over the next 5 years. And I think our last and maybe most exciting, and James and I have the great opportunity to work on this with a new project we have under construction today, is the expansion of our downtown. And so we're currently working on a great project we refer to as Downtown East, but it's a new City Hall, the Monarch, which is a multi-generational rec center, and mixed-use development, which is an expansion of our downtown. That is the first domino to fall in downtown revitalization. Pflugerville doesn't have we're not a county seat, so we don't have that traditional square. And so we've worked really hard over the last several years to bring attention to downtown, something our community has said we need to work on. And I think that's a great challenge and opportunity for the Planning and Development Services Director to help lead and participate in.
That sounds like a lot of moving parts down there. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Yes. Fun with a P.
Yes, with a P. Can you guys tell us any of the top 2 or 3 challenges that the person you end up selecting will be tackling in the first year?
Sure. Well, I mentioned the UDC. That's a big challenge and a big ticket item for the community, as well as downtown revitalization. But I think overall, especially in Central Texas, growth and the challenges that come with that, and kind of the roller coaster we're kind of on right now. Get a lot of development and then it slows quite a bit. And so being responsive to that and kind of knowing how to navigate through those waters will be important, especially over the next year. legislation changes for cities, development is always key. And so some of those changes have come over this last legislative session. And so working through those changes will be important. And I think just in all of that is having thoughtful decision making, because it's never the same. No day is ever the same. You don't know what development's going to come through the door and how that's going to impact your community. And so sometimes saying no will be what you have to say, and that can be challenging. This position always has to think about the community first, even though that developer is really convincing, right? Your number one goal and responsibility is to the community, and you try to work and with that developer, certainly, and make it the best you can for the community. At the end of the day, that the challenge in that is having to say this isn't the right fit for us. And so as we grow and we start to see more of our corridors fill up, we have to be very strategic in those choices and making those professional recommendations. So I think that certainly in the first year and years beyond will be the challenge for this position.
And as you guys have been talking today, it seems like Pflugerville's, continuing to evolve. What excites each of you the most about where the city's headed?
So Emily's touched on a lot of this already, but we're only a little over halfway built out. There is so much meat left on the bone, so to speak, particularly for someone coming on the planning side to really leave their mark on this community. Like, there's so much left to do. We're not even close to being fully built out. We still have room to more than double in size. And so we talk about half of our people aren't even here yet. And so many opportunities for this next person to come in and leave their own mark on what I believe is a premier community in Texas, certainly in Central Texas, with a great reputation and someone that can come in and build on that. I think is super exciting. I think deep down we all crave the opportunity to be able to solve tough challenges with a great team. I think we all desire that just at a deep level. And Pflugerville has that, right? We have a great team and we have so many great challenges to solve and ways for us to leave our mark. We're in this business. I'm in this business. I'll speak for myself, to serve and to try to leave this world in a little better place than the way I found it. And what an opportunity here. Not to mention great school districts, great places to live, great amenities. It's just a great place to live, right? So that's great too for those that are bringing a family or whatever. But in terms of the work, I couldn't think of a better place, particularly for this position, that I'd rather be.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think you find those things. It's just James and I said he spoke for himself, but I think it is about serving the community. And I think what's beautiful about our team is I think we all have that. And so that makes it so much easier every day when you're all moving in the same direction and your goals are all the same, and what your motivation to serve and make a better community is key and makes this job so enjoyable.
It does make it a whole lot easier when everybody's rowing in the same direction with each other. Well, finally, is there anything that either one of you would like to tell us that prospective applicants would want to know about the opportunity, the team, or the impact they can make that you haven't already covered?
Well, I think I'd just reiterate we have an incredible team here at Pflugerville. I think James mentioned it earlier that we hire and fire on those first core values, and you see that in all of our team. And so getting to work every day is not a challenge. What I hear a lot from all levels of our team is that they enjoy coming to work. Not everybody hears that in their workplace. It's like, gotta go to work the next day, or, it seems like a drag. That's not what we hear from our team. They enjoy coming to work even when it's hard, because they know they have the support and team surrounding them to make those days easier. And so I think I would just emphasize that, and the sense of pride you have in that at the end of every day. It is across the board from all of our leadership team to our line levels. And I think that's just what makes Pflugerville such a great place to work.
And the numbers speak for themselves. Our voluntary turnover rate is about a third of our peers. When people come, they generally don't leave. Money only brings so much happiness. For me, it's the team, it's the people that I get to work with and the culture I get to enjoy. Sure, I think we've all had opportunities to go somewhere else, but I stay because of the people I get to work with. And we've had several people. We have one that we're hiring back right now. Like, they leave, they find out the grass isn't actually greener, the extra buck, the different city, whatever. They end up finding their way back to Pflugerville because we are awesome. Just going to put that out there. But the numbers speak to it too. It's not just anecdotal, right? I can show you on paper. And so we're really proud of that. Yeah, can't say enough about Emily and her team. It would be a really great opportunity for whomever is willing to come take on some challenges with us.
Yeah, I mean, the salary for this looks very competitive, but I think you're right. Like at the end of the day, it's about that fit, about the feel of the team, and definitely there's something to be said for those intrinsic values outside of the scope of a salary.
James, I just want to pipe in as a little bit as a recruiter here. With the salary, the city is definitely wanting to stay competitive in that with, 135,000 to 180,000 based on, qualifications and experience. And, the other thing I think is really important, since I've been retired from city management and kind of traveling around the country working with, different governmental organizations and candidates is the energy that you get when you get to work for a place. And you can kind of see that when we start these recruitments and getting to visit with Emily and James. And then, I'm familiar with the rest of their city management team and just the way in which the energy is vibrant within the organization and the way they approach their community. It's just really exciting to be a recruiter. And so, when we get to contact folks or they're calling and asking about the position, this is one of those positions where we're happy to say, hey, this would be a great place. And, if it were me, I would definitely take the opportunity to work there.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our council. Like, we really have an awesome council right now. This isn't a council that this planning director is going to get up and get grilled, right? We've worked really hard over the last 6-7 years under Serena's tenure to build trust with this council. We perform at a high level. They trust us. We're able to get a lot done. It's super fun. So I can't say enough about our council too. Not every city can say that, but our city council members are fantastic. They're super supportive, and that's evident in the salaries we can offer and the benefits we offer too.
Yeah. And I think I would just add to that, especially in this role, you go out on a limb a lot of times. It's your professional recommendation, whether it's on a zoning, specific use permit, right? There's a lot of gray in planning. It's not always black and white. And so this council is very trusting, to James's point, that worked really hard. Serena's worked really hard building that trust, and they are reliant on our professional recommendation and really very respectful of that. And so that makes the job a lot easier too.
Definitely. Michael, you said you're heading up the recruitment on this for Clear. How can applicants find the opportunity? How can they apply?
The easiest way is just to go to our website at www.clearcareerpro.com. You can click on the link and they can upload their resume and cover letter there. If they're unable to do that, you can always shoot me an email at michael@clearcareerpro.com. or, you can always reach out to me or anybody on our team, and we're happy to answer your questions about that. We're a candidate-focused company, and we're excited to work with all of our candidates and build that trust with them. It's really great when we get to merge such an amazing position with candidates that are going to be doing great things for their community. So make sure and give me those phone calls.
Definitely. Well, Emily and James, Michael, it's been a fantastic night with you guys getting to record this.
You got it.
I added the P in there. Definitely. Well, the opportunity sounds exciting. I kind of wish that I was in the planning space, but I don't think I meet the qualifications. So I'll let somebody else apply for this one.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us and promoting our community in this position.
You guys take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Clear Voice, brought to you by Clear Career Professionals. If you are interested in the Pflugerville Planning and Development Services Director position, you can apply under the Career Opportunities tab on Clear's website at clearcareerpro.com. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn, where we share all of our postings.